G'day guys, I want to talk about the importance of gutter vacuuming, and these are key factors that we need to consider when using any vacuum. So whether it's a little portable, a truck mount, and using vacuum poles, there are 6 sensors that we need to consider when carrying out vacuuming using vacuum poles. So pay attention. The first one is listening to your vacuum. So like if we're vacuuming at home and we suck up a sock with our traditional vacuum cleaner, you're going to hear the vacuum choke. So that's sensor and key factor number 1. The second factor is airflow. We can actually hear airflow in the gutter. So when we have the tooling out on a single story or at height, we can listen to the airflow at the tool end. So sensor number 2. Sensor number 3 is airflow. As we're using the vacuum poles, we can hear or we can feel the airflow in the poles. So that's crucial and allows us to determine whether we have blockages on the poles. The next sensor, temperature. As the poles become cold and wet, they'll become heavy. So the hose and the poles will start to clog, and that's an indication that we need to clean the vacuum poles by taking a gulpful of water or using a hose to remove that mud and debris from the vacuum poles. The next one is feel. When we put the gutter tooling into the gutter, we can actually feel metal on metal, or there are plastic tools, whether we're actually pushing down on a sponge or whether the gutter is clean, and we can feel that metal or plastic onto the metal, indicating that the gutter is clean. But the last point, the 6th sense, is the vacuum release pole. So as we're going along and cleaning that gutter, it is paramount that every few inches we're opening and closing the vacuum release port. So as we do that, if we get a gush of air from our vacuum release port, we know that we're clogged upstairs. As we go along, we can use the vacuum release to drop debris to the ground, but it's a good indication of movement along that gutter as to how we're performing at height. And once we have multiple poles and multiple stacked, that's going to become more critical in our gutter vacuuming techniques. Let's just go over vacuum tooling. So this is, I call this tool a bad day. So it's a crevice tool, 25mm. There is a new updated metal version. But when we're using this particular tool, we need to face it so that it's pulling from underneath the iron. So depending on access to a property, whether we're working directly out from that tool or whether we're moving along the gutter in a parallel function, we're going into the gutter and we're actually going to pull from underneath the iron. There's different tools, tool ends. They can either be plastic or metal, but it's the way they're designed with the chamfer on the end, and there's a couple of different combinations of these tools which you can see. But as we move along parallel to the gutter, we need to have that tool also pulling from under the iron or tiles. So if we have it pointing in the opposite direction, we're not going to be able to pull those leaves from under that particular structure. So they're key factors on just using tools and placing those tools in your gooseneck, so we're orientating at the right way depending on where we're standing, and that may need to be adjusted as we're working that one particular gutter. I suppose one really important factor is the determination, and what is that definition of a clean gutter? You know, does the customer expect to be able to eat out of that gutter? Will the dirt and the debris be removed? And whether that needs to be a premium service if you go along and do a vacuum, and whether you need to do a flush with a pressure cleaner afterwards, needs to be discussed and probably price tiered to suit that particular customer. How long should a gutter clean take? Okay, if this is watched in other places, in Australia, technically, a single story and a double story will be priced different. And on a single story property, depending on your hourly rate, you would expect to spend about 2 hours to clean a particular single story home and 3 to clean a double story home. So that's an indication, and then cutting that back into your hourly rate and adding your travel times, that will enable sort of base costing to be able to carry out those particular tasks. So that's bit of insight as to how clean does a gutter need to be. Will you remove every single leaf from under that gutter? Probably not. Your main objective is to remove blockages and allow water to flow. Often you may have a customer looking from an upstairs window while you're cleaning a gutter. So those expectations need to be met prior to starting that vacuum clean. Let's just talk about the SkyVac range, and we have a nitro here, and depending on what vacuum you're using, all these principles and bits and pieces I'll talk about will be similar across the range. So the vacuum head on each particular system will have a place of orientation. So as dirt and debris comes into this particular vacuum cleaner, we have a vacuum port at the front, and all the rubbish and crap, as we call it, is going to hit the deflector screen. So it's very important to note on your particular model where that deflector screen is. And in this particular system, the nitro, we have the switches orientated in this particular position. If we were to put the vacuum head in an orientation like that, the dirt and debris is going to go straight into the filter and clog that filter. Filter maintenance is quite easy, and this filter is nice and clean, and we can quickly remove that filter and carry out a wash. You could have a vacuum blower just to blow out the dust if you're vacuuming a dusty gutter, but having a spare filter through the day, if you're doing some large tasks and that does become wet, vacuum will be reduced. One of the other key factors is now and then when we pull the vacuum head off, and if you're sucking out pits or very heavy wet gutters and filling up that vacuum canister, is listening to the float mechanism. So that float is a common piece of apparatus in any wet vacuum cleaner. So as that water fills up in that canister, it's just going to choke that vacuum and prevent water ingestion back into the motors. So that's a couple of key factors with setting up your vacuum and preparing it to do some gutter cleaning. Yeah, so all these vacuums across the SkyVac range have different performance and different operating factors. So we talked about the placement of the head on the nitro to get the deflector in its optimum position to stop ingress into the filter. On the Industrial 85, it switches to the front, and when we look inside, the deflector is protecting the ingress of debris into the filter. But I wanted to mention the power mix on this particular vacuum cleaner. So we have fastest and heavy, and what we're actually doing is choking out the vacuum. So on this particular model, we'll have a higher airflow in the fastest, and that's going to remove more leaf matter. But if we wanted to lift something, as in a big grass runner or a tennis ball or basketball, we could move that and choke the motor, and we're going to get more water lift. So vacuums generally, as a rule of thumb across any particular vacuum system, has a measure in airflow, so litres per minute, and also water lift or inches of mercury, and that's the way you measure the strength of a vacuum across and generically in the vacuum industry. Okay, so what we're actually going to do is break into the gutter. So it's important now that me standing where I am, I'm going to position the tooling so we're facing underneath the iron, or tiles in this case. We're going to break into the gutter. We're going to be very, very aggressive as we break into the gutter. So as we break in to the gutter, we're going to clear a space. So what I've done there is I've cleared a space, and then I'm twisting the vacuum release pole as I clear the space. I can feel now that I've cleared a space. I'm moving a few inches forward, a few inches back to clear that space before I actually move the vacuum cleaning system along. So just twisting that in that particular nature. So then, once I've cleared that space, I can continue moving along. Very, very aggressive, and I'm twisting the vacuum tooling as I'm moving along. I'm positioning the tooling to pull underneath the iron. In Australia, we have the gutter vacuum brackets, and I can actually see that we've actually hit the vacuum bracket, and I need to come up over the other side of that vacuum bracket. So I've cleared that space and then we continue along. I'm twisting the vacuum handle and I'm very aggressive moving the vacuum as I move along. Opening the vacuum release, and I can hear the air discharge there. So now I've got a stick in the end. Slowly moving along. Another gutter bracket, so I'll come up and I'll come back down. I'll break in. Now I can feel that I've got a blockage. So I can either try and clear that by opening the vacuum release and break into the other side. Then I can go back, I can make sure that I'm clean, I can angle in different angles to pull from underneath the iron or the tiles in that particular manner. I can feel that there's metal on metal. I can hear the airflow up there. I can feel the airflow in the tubes. Another gutter bracket, we come up over the top and we continue. Opening the vacuum release will enable me to determine whether I'm blocked or the tooling is clear. Metal on metal, down, gutter bracket, up, so I've now positioned the gutter vacuum tooling to pull from under the iron. So I'm just going to repeat the process. I'm going to break into the gutter again. And the the tiles are quite tight there. So we're going to break in again. And I can feel the metal on metal. But we need to be like a woodpecker. We need to be really aggressive as we move along in that gutter. I've cleared that space. I'm opening the vacuum release. I'm going back and moving that tool end to pull any remaining leaves or debris out of that gutter. Gutter bracket, I lift up, I come back down the other side. Now we've got a blockage. We can hear that in the vacuum release because I've got an air discharge at the end of the handle. Metal on metal, moving the tools, moving it around. Tight space under this deciduous tree as we go around. Come back a bit further. Now, here we go. Blockage. Blockage there. Try and see if we can clear it. This one looks like it's stuck and it's grabbed on. There we go. Quite thick. Probably need another pole just to reach into that corner. Of a vacuum block is having the hose. And as I block the vacuum, I can watch the hose response, and you'll see that as well when you have a blockage at top. If you're blocked, the hose will compress on itself. So we're going to break into the gutter again. Now I can feel metal on metal there. I'm going to work along. Now I know that bit of gutter there where I've gone in is clean. I'm opening the vacuum release. I'm not getting an air discharge. I've hit a gutter bracket, so I'll come up and I'll go back down the other side. Opening the vacuum release and I'm moving along. Moving the tooling in and out. I'm twisting the vacuum release to know that to work out how I'm going. Bit tight there with the tiles. Getting stuck there with the tight tiles. Not much clearance. Come back up. Try and get in there. And that's gutter vacuuming. 6 sensors.